Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Becky Nakamura, and I am the owner-operator of Wavesofki Energy Work. I am a Reiki master, shamanic Reiki practitioner, and crystal singing bowl sound therapy practitioner. Now, I realize that for many of you, shamanic Reiki is not an energy healing modality that you are familiar with. Together with using the universal life force energy, ki or chi, I incorporate different shamanic tools in with my Reiki sessions, such as accessing your Akashic records, using crystals, the native drums, rattle, tuning forks, and healing feathers. I do Reiki sessions in person or online, either through Zoom or Skype. So being somewhere else in the world is not an issue, as I have clients in Norway, Sweden, Colombia, Vancouver, and here in Alberta, just not necessarily in Calgary. The focus of my weekly interviews is to introduce you to the different healing modalities that are available to you. Each person resonates with different modalities and different energy workers. My dream is to see everyone becoming more aware, more empowered in their healing and in their health and well-being, whether it's through Reiki or shamanic coaching, Lomi, breathwork, acupuncture, massage, systemic constellation workshops, sound therapy. The list goes on and on. I just ask you to be open to listening to what is out there and available to you. And if someone speaks, and if something speaks to you, I ask, try it and see what comes out of it. So my guest today is Leslie Bendig. Leslie has been working as a school teacher for the last 10 years in a variety of grades and subjects. About 5 years ago, after focusing on self-healing, she was drawn into becoming educated in healing modalities to help others. So some of these modalities include Reiki, craniosacral therapy, and the Bowen technique. The latter are to address the stress and pain in the body with soft tissue, muscle, and nervous system focus. Mm-hmm. She is interested in the mind-body connection, as well as the physical, emotional connection of past experiences that can be held in the body. She recently completed training as a breathwork facilitator to help and support others through the company Pause Breathworks. So what began with the energetic work of Reiki to the inner world of our breath. She appreciates being able to support and help others with their self-care and finding balance in their daily lives. Welcome back, Leslie.
Thank you for having me again. So excited to be here.
So today you are going to be leading us through some practices that we can do on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to maybe talk some about it before going and taking us through that?
Yeah, of course. So the last time I was on your podcast, we talked a little bit about breathwork. So yes. It was a nice introduction to what it was. And now what we're going to do, I guess, is actually like lead through some breathwork techniques and patterns. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what I quite said last time, so I'll just say it again. But yeah, for me, breathwork is it's just this beautiful body-based meditative practice, I call it. So for people who struggle a little bit with meditation, struggle with quieting the mind, we can use our breath in a relaxing or in a very active way to connect back more with the body and kind of unhook the mind from that process, where we can really try to settle in to the feelings of what needs to come up for us and what needs to move through. So a lot of people, when I talk about breath work, the first thing that comes to their mind is, oh yeah, for relaxation, or yeah, I did it in yoga. And so it's a really beautiful introduction that people get, depending on if it's just through their yoga teacher, using some pranayama, which is just, for me, it's underneath that umbrella term of what breath work is. It's just another type of technique and pattern that can be used. Or people, it's very common when someone is feeling stressed, anxious, hurt or anything that's uncomfortable where we need to slow down our nervous system. Something, common people say is take some slow, deep breaths, try some box breathing, take in those deep inhales and hold, and then let go of an exhale. So breath work, so breath in itself, I guess, is just a really beautiful tool for supporting our nervous system into relaxation. But I use breath in that way as well. But another branch that I'm trained in and use breath work for is for transformation. So breath work in an active, continual, conscious way, like breathing in and moving that air and energy out through the body to go deeper for some deeper healing. So on one hand, it is a beautiful tool for relaxation and changing our nervous system and switching into more of a rest state or relaxed state. But then it's also can be very active and use it for the purpose of releasing and healing the body.
So you have, in your practice, you use several, I think you mentioned like 4 or 5 different breath techniques.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So with pause breath work, we have 2 kind of like techniques that we focus on. We have our integrative breathwork techniques, and we have our meditative breathwork techniques. And then within that are a few different patterns or how we use the breath with the body. And the integrative breathwork are techniques that you can use like throughout the day, morning, whenever you need to shift the nervous system. They're not meant to take the person to like a really deep transformational state. The goal is just to what's the outcome that you're looking for with an intentional breath, whether it's to relax and rest, whether it's to activate, feel energy, feel clarity and more focus. And so there are 6 patterns of breath that we can use, and they're beautiful. A lot of them, they can feel common. Sometimes people resonate with them when it comes to like Kundalini and different yoga, because it's just using the breath in an intentional way. And then we can kind of put them together as well and create blends, so we can use them in really different ways. And then the meditative kind of branch, I guess, would be a few patterns that are used to really go deeper. So we have breather breathing for, it's hard to say. It's so beautifully tailored to what a person is looking for and what a person is ready for within their own body system and how deep they're ready to go or can go. So it can go anywhere from maybe 5 to 10 minutes to 20 minutes or longer of this active breathing. Yeah. So yeah, and we've got 2 patterns that we use with that one as well.
And I believe like for some people, you hit those low points during the day. So if you learn a breath technique that can bring energy back, like it can bring the energy back into your system and raise your energy level.
Yeah.
Like that is a very important tool to have, so that when you're some points during the day, or when you need it, or when you're feeling a little low in self-confidence, or think that bring it up.
Yeah. Some of them are more active, some of them are more relaxing, some of them are and it's sometimes like the active ones are just to really move that energy in and out through the body really quickly. Again, it's for me, it's all about for people to build trust with their body, so they don't feel like it leads them into something uncomfortable. So it's also trusting the body. So as they do it, and they can do as many breaths as they want in that pattern. They can go longer. They can repeat a blend for maybe 2-3 times and circulate it through. So yeah, so it can be like, if you want to like kind of hyper oxygenate the body, we can do it that way. It's, some of them are breathing in through the nose. Some of them are just only using the mouth. So yeah, they definitely vary. Yeah, and it's nice to work with people to create these patterns, or show them what we can do, so that they can take it almost like homework. They can take it and do it as they need in their day. Yeah, they're just like good little breathers. Yeah.
So walk me through a session. How does your session usually?
Yeah. So if I have I guess, do you want me to talk about like just with one-on-one, or if I have
if I had a one-on-one, if I came to you and said, Leslie, I would like to
try breath work.
try breath work, or see what ends up being released through breath.
Okay. So a typical session, if it's someone's first time visiting and trying breathwork, is first things first is I have a medical kind of history form, because I want to make sure that I'm not planning something that might be too intense. Because again, depending on some of the contraindications, which we can go over after, I want to make sure like what I'm doing is safe. So breathwork, yes, we all breathe. It's beautiful, and we can use this as a healing tool. But there's also just contraindications medically where we wouldn't want someone to continually do something too intense for them. So I would receive the form and go over it. I always check with someone and ask, like, what is it that you're here for? You know, sometimes they might just say it's for relaxation. I'm looking to shift this, and whatever they're open to talking about of what's going on and what brought them to try breathwork. It's nice. That way we can build up and create like a mantra or an affirmation or an intention for the practice. And if anyone's heard of, used affirmations in their mornings or in their daily life, it's a beautiful, or meditations, I guess. It's just a really beautiful way to breathe with intention, because we are all about, with pause and how I work, of breathing with intention and that integrity and that embodiment. So it's not just breathing and seeing so it's like, what is it that we're looking for, and what are we looking to remove? And it could be something as simple as like, I allow, or I am powerful, or I let this go, or I move through this with ease. And I mean, it can be very general too, as it's all about surrendering to what's going to come up for the person. Then I usually tend to create some sort of integrative breath as almost kind of like a warm-up to ground, to calm, to shift the nervous system, and to connect and feel it with the body. And then again, depending on the form, depending on what we're looking for, I get to kind of craft a playlist of music. And again, that's done intentionally with the type of music and songs that I choose. And that way the person can like just lie down on blankets, on a yoga mat. I will bring eye masks for people to really just block everything out. And then in a typical session, if it's in person, when COVID shifts, it's beautiful because I can do hands-on support, hands-on pressure release, holding into the feet, holding into maybe like the legs and grounding in, working with the jaw, working with the working at the head to support anything that's showing up for the person. Virtually, it would just be me cueing and checking in on the person and watching them as they're breathing, and then offering any like type of physical support they can give themselves. Maybe it's a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. Maybe I can say, like, if you're starting to feel anything, like you can just put your hands on your jaw and just kind of give yourself some attention there. So it's building more of a connection for what that person is needing and how can they support themselves. But yeah, generally, if it was in person, it's offering that physical support, cueing, using the mantra, that intention, and guiding that person to feel safe. And that way, if anything shows up for them in that session, that might be, I can, sometimes you can just see how their emotional state is going, or you can start to see if they are getting a little too into their body, like maybe they need to slow down, and you're just there to facilitate and guide them as a facilitator in that moment. And then coming down after with the music, coming back to the body. And then it's beautiful after, because we can have a conversation or journal for the client, whatever they need with support with after. It's always an opportunity for them to share what came up for them, how they are feeling, what they noticed, or keep it with them, and they can just go home or take some time and write it out and just really be with that, because it can be powerful experiences. It can be, emotional. It can be just relaxing. I just we have to surrender to what comes up, because I can't. So it's really just going with that flow in that way. So yeah, that's kind of how a typical session would go for a one-to-one.
So you mentioned COVID. So I thought that the studio was opening back up and you were doing.
No, I'm offering in Calgary, I'm offering one-to-ones in person, and more or less at the comfort level of the breather. So I mean, I wear a mask as required at my clinic. And I do have access to using like a larger yoga studio when it's available, to have so much more space. You basically get this whole room. And if not, then I'm just in a normal clinic room and we just lie down. It's up to the person's comfort level, right? I've gone so far when I've done some in-person ones already, where I'll kind of just hang out at the feet and hang out there and just hold space. If the person's comfortable, I've gone up to kind of the belly and kind of like the hips and the thighs, but probably as far as I'll go. And then if I'm wearing like a face shield and a mask, I'll come up a little closer to that. It's really what's comfortable for the client and what they're comfortable with. If they want space, I would just give them the space and then sit kind of distance away and then cue from there in person. So yeah, I haven't held any group classes yet. I haven't created those, but they would be small and whatever kind of large space I can acquire at the studio. So yeah, so no, in-person ones are welcome. It's just up to the person. It's up to people's comfort level. And that's why virtual sessions are also a possibility where people can stay at home and be in their own space and feel safe. Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be doing any virtual group sessions?
Yeah, my plan with another lady I work with is to offer a few coming up in August. We're just, kind of finalizing some dates, and she is going to lead some meditation at the beginning, and then I'll just lead some shorter breath work following that. And so we just got to finalize our dates, and we're going to try and do it bi-weekly. So try and get 2 done in August. It's, it's summer, people are a bit busy. So we're going to offer them by donation, and they'll be up on my website once I get those dates picked. And then also like we're going to offer them through like the Way, which is where I work, social, and then like my social media. So yes, hopefully in a few weeks, we'll get a couple of those done. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's get into this, the demonstration. Because I know there's a few things you want to discuss after. So I want to make sure that we're able to get everything in as opposed to running out of time.
I know, we could talk the whole time about it.
So how would you like us to start?
So what we'll do is we'll just start with some just breath awareness and kind of connecting and slowing down. So that way, if anyone is listening to this later, this recording, they can just kind of follow along, and it should still be something that they can do. This one here, it's just going to be, we can close our eyes. I don't know if obviously I don't know if anyone would listen to this driving. So if you're driving, please don't follow along and do it where you are safe and you can be rested with your eyes closed. So that's just kind of a warning. Please don't do this while you're driving or any of this breath work. Just do it when you're in a safe space. Yeah. People can stay seated. They can lie down if they're listening to this afterwards or now, and not a worries. And I would just invite you, what we'll do is just start with some breath awareness. So I'm going to play some music on my phone because I think it's lovely. And I would just invite you to kind of just close your eyes. You're going to be my participant. And just start to kind of notice where your breath, how you're breathing right now. And notice if your breath is coming from the chest, seeing if you can bring that breath in down to the belly. See if you can even feel and tap into even the rib cage, just beautifully and slowly expanding on that inhale, making room for that breath. And then I invite you to begin breathing with a little more intention. So breathing in from the nose, and then just a soft exhale out through the mouth. And continue. So keep it going where it feels more circular. So breathing in through the nose, and then just letting go through the mouth. And keep that going, softening in. It's been stated that if we can breathe and hold, even breathing in for 5 seconds and breathing out for 5 seconds, about 6 times in a minute, that we can actually start to build heart coherence. So just soften. Feeling how safe it is to slow down. And checking in, seeing if you feel guided to put a hand on the belly or a hand on the heart, hand in the lap, hand on your knees. And it's just building that more connection, that hand contact with yourself. In through the nose, and then letting go out through the mouth. Beautiful. Perfect. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And that's just one of our, I mean, it is an in through the nose, out through the mouth, which is talked and shared with a lot of people when it comes to breathing techniques. With us, we just call it our continual conscious breath because it's continual. It's like you're cycling through that pattern, and it's conscious, like we're being very aware of a very intentional inhale and then a letting go, and then connecting into how the body feels. Yeah, and that's one of our, so that's one of our integrative breath patterns. I think I'm seeing my eye. One of our integrative breath patterns that I can use. It's beautiful for grounding. It's beautiful for slowing down and supporting our nervous system. Yeah, so it's one that people can do in the mornings, in the evening, when they're feeling a little, when things are just coming at them and need to just slow down. And, you know, if you need to ask anyone or someone, like, hold on, I just need to like take a breath. I just need to pause for a second and give yourself the time you would need to slow down. Yeah, it's a beautiful grounding one.
So then you mentioned with the meditative, sometimes you would bring up a mantra.
Right. Yeah. So So I mean, you could use an affirmation with your integrative practice as well, especially if it's just something like, let this be easy, or I feel into the flow. Like you could use that with your continual conscious breath as well, or any other integrative. But yeah, when I'm leading through a meditative practice, it's beautiful to have an affirmation or a mantra that we can use to set the intention for our practice. And for today, when we do some really short meditative breath pattern, I believe we came up with the beautiful mantra of I allow myself to feel. So we're gonna use that for our mantra today. I allow myself to feel, and it's just kind of allowing yourself to feel safe, allowing yourself to connect, allow yourself to. I mean, it can mean so many things, and that's why it's really beautifully generic. Just to feel whatever you need to feel. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna focus on for our little intro to our meditative practice.
Okay.
Yeah. So before we get into it, to do it, just a couple things to be considerate of. There's some contraindications when it comes to breath work. And now I'm not saying that when it comes to the really relaxed breathing, the slowed down breathing. I'm talking about more when it comes to like that very intentional, sometimes faster paced breath. Some people might have heard of like rebirthing breath work or holotropic. And of course, there's definitely contraindications to that. And I'm never here to push people past their point where it's uncomfortable. So it's really about just teaching people to connect with their body and what feels right for them. But for anyone who might want to try and do this later or is on the call right now, there's a couple contraindications when it comes to really intense breathing and really very quick inhale and exhale. So I have a little list here. So I'm not saying that someone who has these shouldn't do breath work, but it's always nice to, especially on the type of breath work you're looking to do, to always check with like your like a medical professional or doctor, just to make sure that you are okay to do really intense breathing. So a couple of them are like cardiovascular, if someone's got higher abnormal blood pressure, you know, a history of seizures or epilepsy, or even like an aneurysm, heavy medication, right? When it comes to different types of mental health conditions that might feel a little triggered if there's a trauma around that. I've got like osteoporosis because of that, like any recent surgery, glaucoma, pregnancy. We don't encourage people to really like hyperoxygenate their bodies when they're pregnant. And Yeah, just and then just, yeah, if there's anybody who's got any like severe physical, emotional, or mental issues, diagnosis that can just be triggered by it, or yeah, I'll use the word triggered by it, because when we are breathing in such a way, again, it's really up to the person. Like you're in full control of your body and how you're breathing. We're kind of hyper oxygenating the body. We are bringing in a lot of oxygen and a little less carbon dioxide. And what that can do is create some physical sensations. And that can happen even just in a really short period of time. Again, it really depends on the intensity of the breath. So yeah, so some of the physical sensations that people might experience in a deeper, longer session, or if we are sitting and really using the breath in a powerful way, can be like tetany, right? So people sometimes can feel like a tightness, like their hands might kind of like close up or lock up, like a muscle spasm. They sometimes, sometimes they can feel that around the lips or tingling. Sometimes people can feel lightheaded, dizzy, temperature shifts. I mean, it's really hot where we are, but a person could start to feel a little chilly because the system is just really active, or they could feel more heated. They could feel the tingles in different parts of the body, kind of like you feel if your hands are getting like going to sleep, right? They start to feel tingly. So it's just to say that there's nothing wrong with these sensations, but if there's at any point where someone is getting these sensations to they can slow down their breath, breathe slower, breathe deeper. They can come back to their natural breath and then tap into the pattern later. They can alter the pattern however they need for them. It's just really about building that safety and trust with the body, because our goal isn't my goal isn't to push someone past a point where it's uncomfortable. But it is really nice to sit, and when those come up, like when emotional stuff or physical stuff comes up, is how am I dealing with this? Am I getting scared and stopping? Is it bringing up anything that like I can't deal with, so I'm going to shut down? So it is really nice to tap into that, and then also check in with the body, because our mind will want to say like, whoa, like what's going on? Like stop, no, I can't deal with this, right? It's going to create no. So it's interesting sometimes because the mind is like, no, I can't do it, but the body's like, no. Like when you check in, sometimes the body's like, no, I can slow down and still be okay. And so it's a really great way to build that resilience with our nervous system. Emotions might come up as well. Again, even with sometimes shorter periods of time, it really depends on what someone is processing and working through at the time, or what just might come up that they didn't expect. So emotions might come up. It might even just be as simple as your eyes might want to water, like just kind of like really gentle little tears. And you're like, whoa, I didn't even know like I felt sad, but something might want to come up. It might be more of a cry. It might feel like sadness. It might feel like you might feel joyful, and like you might, I've had some people laugh and like giggle because they're just in so much joy. They might feel more relaxed and calm and just peaceful and connected. They actually might feel angry, and they might feel kind of like frustrated, or maybe some anxiety might come up because it might be that their body feels okay, but they might feel anxious. And then it can just be that time to slow down, like slow down, slow the breath down, and just check in. And maybe it's a safety thing. Am I safe? Am I safe to be doing this? Right? I have full control. And so it's a beautiful gift to remind people that they're in full control of their breath, of their body, and they've got their foot on the brake and the gas pedal. So they get to control how fast and much their breath is going, or if they need to like slow it down and go slower and deeper and gentler, like honor what you need and feel into it.
But there's also like sometimes we say, you know, if you're feeling this, to go slower, but there are times when things are shifting, and as they're shifting, that it may be good to go and do that push. Because things are shifting, it's like, okay, let's just do that final little push and see if we can have a breakthrough, so that then, you know,
100%. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or like a psychiatrist or anything like that. So when someone has and again, that's why that form is so important, to see if there's any stuff that's happened before. And it's interesting because the form will say like severe trauma, but everyone's like, well, I don't know if I've had severe trauma. I mean, we've all had something in our, like, there's got to be things in our life that can cause us to feel unsafe or uncomfortable or hurt. Or so there's always things that can come up. Yeah. And it's really beautiful because when I've worked with people who have experienced some trauma or experience that they're working through, they'll get to a point in their breath where they've said, Kate, I've got to, they're like, okay, I don't want to go anymore. Like, I'm just going to breathe and like slow down, but I've reached my point. And it's, how beautiful is it to have people reach that point where they know, and then they can slowly cross that bridge. So it's building that resiliency. And if someone feels safe to feel stuff come up and be like, okay, and I mean, maybe when you are working with someone one-on-one, and they could easily say like, I need some help, like my heart, like I'm feeling it. Can you come support me? So it is nice to build that, for people to build that trust within themselves of how far they want to go, or if they feel it coming up, like, are they ready? Do they feel safe? Can they be in it? Because pain is our teacher. So if it comes up and they can feel it and still be with it and acknowledge it and feel it, they get to feel their way to healing instead of trying to overanalyze it. I can feel it. I don't have to create the story. And then we can like be with that pain. Can we be with that pain and still feel it and feel okay? And instead of like having that suffering, because suffering is just, it's just circular and it's just constantly going into it. But pain we can feel, and if we're in a place to feel safe to feel it, yeah, it can move and be it can create a lot of shifts when people are feeling safe to move through them. Yeah, definitely. As you've experienced, huh?
As I've experienced, yes. I found that I could, like, when I was feeling some things, and it was like I could feel it stuck in my solar plexus area, and then you just did some cranial sacral at the same time, and it was just, and then it shifted, and it just, you know, and that's I think one of the things that I really liked about it was the integration. So it wasn't just the breath work; it was like the breath work and sometimes
and the Reiki,
and the Reiki and the Bowen and the cranial sacral. That these can be used at the same time as the breath work to help to shift things, but in a very gentle way. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be stressful. It doesn't need to hurt.
Yeah, I love it. So are we going to do a little meditative practice?
Yes.
Is that what we're going to do? Okay.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to, so I'd gone over those indications. So just that reminder, we can do them sitting. We're not going to be doing, what makes a meditative practice more of a meditative practice is they are technically a little bit longer. So we have the person like lying down, so that they feel safer. We want them on the ground, lying down, so people don't feel and like get lightheaded or whatnot. And then like, we don't want, so to keep people safe. But for today, we'll keep them short enough that we can stay seated. If someone wants to lie down, they are more than welcome to lie down and you know, close their eyes and rest and do the pattern. But you're more than welcome to stay seated and feeling into the body of when it's feeling like too much. So again, like a reminder is, people who are participating have full control, right? You know your body, you know what conditions and what's been going on physically, emotionally, and mentally. So just kind of like find that like that sovereignty where you can like you can do what you feel you're ready for. But if something isn't quite sure, you're not quite ready to go full in and go with a more intentional continual breath, then just stay with your natural breath. Like I invite people to just kind of, you know, relax, close their eyes, and just breathe, inhale and exhale slowly. They can do the breath we did prior, that in through the nose and out through the mouth, and go soft and gentle. And they can still do that during this time, and it can still be just as effective to shift the nervous system. It can still be powerful, and it can still be emotional, and it can still feel relaxing. So again, that's a beautiful way that people can just kind of dip their toe in and do that if they're not ready, or if this little practice before we do a little bit of a longer one feels like too much, right? So it's a nice way to just let people take control and have empowerment with their breath. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the halo pattern, which is our meditative pattern. I'm just going to like find my song here. And we're going to do it for just a few minutes. So we're going to do 30 seconds of the active breathing, 30 seconds rest, and then 30 seconds active, and then 30 seconds rest. So it just gives people who've never done it a chance to just feel into it and then have a little bit of a rest and see how they're feeling to do it again. So the halo pattern is very similar to our continual conscious breath. It is an inhale through the nose and an exhale through the mouth, but they are both very intentional. So where the other one was a very intentional, like, and then letting go. This one is like more of a forced exhale as well, intentional. So a person can sigh it out if they want. Now my pace is pretty quick, right? It's going. Now a person can slow that down as well. They don't have to go as fast as me. If I'm coaching and guiding someone, they never have to keep up with my pace. They could go. But as long as they've got that intentional inhale and exhale. So again, they can go as slow as they need, if that makes sense. And again, full control, right? Who am I to know what someone needs, right? It's building that trust within the body. And you're good, because I think we've done this before. Okay. So we're going to put on some breath, or music for our breath. Okay. And again, we're going to use that same mantra. I allow myself to feel. So just closing eyes again. Taking a nice breath in, letting go. I allow myself to feel. Beautiful. And we're going to start our pattern. So breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, at your pace. People can sigh. And it's just that continual breath. And now coming back and letting that go, breathing naturally and just softening. Depending on the speed and depth that you went with that breath, you might start to feel a little lightheaded because we're bringing in so much oxygen and releasing so much carbon dioxide with our exhale. So soften and let that go. If it felt like too much in that first time, just go a little slower. And we're going to start again, breathing in through the nose. So slow down if you need. It's safe to breathe. Safe to be in the body. It's safe to feel. Breathing in. I allow myself to feel. Beautiful. Coming back to natural breath again, softening and letting go. Again, you might start to feel a little lightheaded depending on where you are. Slowing that breath down. I allow myself to feel. Beautiful. And so whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, Becky. Yeah, so I know we've done this before, so it's a little familiar for you. Even I was doing it, and I was like, whoa, I'm getting a little lightheaded. Like, it happens to me too. I sometimes have to, again, just like anyone, I know it's also quite warm in my home, so I'm kind of being mindful of that as well, of the heat, right? Like I don't want to put myself in a place where I'm going to get too lightheaded. So for me, it's all about slowing down. Because again, what's the intention? Is my intention to push myself and push, or is my intention to connect with the body and feel and really feel what it feels like to have that energy and that air move through, right? It's not always about push, push, push. It's just about intention and that conscious air moving in and out. So yeah. How are you feeling? Are you feeling okay?
Yes, though my ears kind of, I need to equalize them. They need to pop.
Oh, need to do a
Yeah.
nice yawn. Open that jaw. Oh, interesting. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, it's like things are in a bit of an echo chamber.
Uh-oh. Are we going to continue to do a little more breathing?
Oh, yes.
You'll
Oh,
be all right?
yes.
Okay, just making sure
Oh,
you're
God.
okay. Yeah, making sure you're okay. Beautiful. So that's just kind of like just a little bit of a taste. And so what I can do with people, if I'm doing an introduction to breath work, if I am working with someone for the first time, I would do similar exercises. I might do a little longer. I might do a minute on and 30 seconds off to just get someone comfortable with that. Or it's nice to, once they are lying down, to start in that way and then have them go into the pattern. So it can be nice to just really just start where people are at and start slow, because it's about feeling what it feels like to do that and to breathe. Because a lot of the times, it's like, oh man, all I have to do is breathe. Like, this is like, come on, like I got things, so for me, one of my big things is I don't have time for this. I don't have time to just sit and breathe. And it's one of my biggest things that pops up for me, where it's kind of like meditation. Well, I don't have time to meditate. And that's when people are like, well, then you need to do it more. So for me, when I say I don't have time to do my breath work and meditation, it's usually because I need it and I need to slow down and connect and ground, because So we'll do a shorter one now, of just a little longer, shorter but longer.
Okay.
Okay. Are you wanting to dive into some conversation? How are you feeling?
I was wondering if maybe we could talk something about the benefits.
Sure. Yeah.
So that when we do it again, people will have that kind of in their mind, so that they can pay more attention to, maybe they may be more aware of how their body's feeling, what sensations are coming up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to breath work. And I think if people are familiar with just using breathing techniques, whether it's through yoga or the box breathing, fitness people are like, it's common that we know that it's used for relaxation and for connecting in with the body and slowing down with the mind. So relaxation is, again, one of the huge benefits that I think people associate when it comes to breathing slowly. So definitely that comes to reducing stress, because and anxiety relief. As we're trying to shift the nervous system, especially with the slower breathing and more calm breathing, we're trying to shift that nervous system into that parasympathetic. So when we're doing deeper diaphragmatic breathing, some people will use that term. And definitely when the exhale is longer, so we're like, and we breathe out for say 5 to 8 seconds and a long exhale, that can start to stimulate our vagus nerve, which is our huge parasympathetic nerve. That puts the brakes on, right? So when people are in high states of sympathetics, that fight or flight, sometimes it's even hard to want to breathe. I don't have breathing also can create that anxiety. It's funny when people are getting anxious and you're just breathe, and they're like, don't tell me to just breathe. So it's funny how we're in such that state, but that slow, long, drawn out exhale can stimulate that vagus nerve, which is beautiful. So even just that other active breathing can activate it, because our diaphragm is moving, and that can also stimulate our vagus nerve. So I mean, it connects to our emotions when we do different types of intentional breath work. We can feel more, like I said, feel more relaxed. We can feel energized. We can release stuff that might be stuck in our bodies. As you know, when it comes to body work and energy work, it's beautiful for moving and helping people with anything that is kind of stuck, that energy, those emotions that are kind of stuck in the body. So breath work is just another tool that kind of actively can move them through, and people have the power with their breath at all times. They can always come back to their breath as a self-healing modality. Yeah. So, I mean, reducing toxins, like we're definitely, you know, the lymphatic system there's a lot of our lymphatic system in our abdomen. So when we're moving that diaphragm again, it almost acts as that kind of like we're kind of pumping stuff
So
through.
we're kind of giving it a massage.
Yeah. If we're really active, right? That diaphragm's moving. So things are like being influenced by it. And I mean, we're hyper oxygenating the body. Again, these are all depending on the types of breath that you're doing, like the intensity, but still, like we're hyper oxygenating the body. So we are bringing in more oxygen. We are like bringing that oxygen to our cells, to our blood, which again influences the entire body. And I mean, it's just energetic. It's clarity. It is, people sometimes feel, depending on the type that they do, some people get insights, like they might in meditation, they might get spiritual connection. They might feel more intuitive. They might feel more grounded, a sense of well-being. Like there's so many benefits that can be, and I mean, each session can be different in itself, right? So it's releasing the expectation of what's going to come. And, but again, when you have that mantra and that intention, it can be more focused, which is really nice. Yeah, there's lots. Yeah, it's just a little handful. Yeah.
And sometimes things come up where you think you go in with one idea or one intention, and then as you're going through the breath work, something else comes up, and it's like, oh,
yes,
I'm feeling this.
Yeah, that's why it's so fascinating to. It's all about surrender. I'll come up with mantras with my clients, and then after, when we get to share, they'll say like, oh, like this came up and I didn't even know, or that has something. I'm like, whoa. I mean, it's amazing what they just might get, an insight or a memory or a feeling, or they'll just start to cry and they're like, I have no idea why. Like they'll just be like, they don't even know. And so so stuff can come up that that's just what's so beautiful. Like, who am I? It's fully their self-healing, and what comes through for them is kind of what they need at that time. Yeah, it's surrender.
You're the conduit.
Huh?
You're the conduit.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss your contribution lightly.
Energy, the facilitator, holding space is so beautiful, right. And that it's a sacred practice. So sacred. Yes. To be with someone while they're really moving stuff through, and whatever that is and whatever they need, it's sacred. It's like a sacred. I know we talked a lot about that.
Building a sacred container for them to go through their healing, go for another part of their healing process.
Yeah, it's their life force, right? Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
So we are going to do another one.
Do we have time to do another one, or do you feel like it's going to be a little too short?
So you said that it could be about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It can be a little less too, because we can just do it for we can even do it for I usually don't tell people how long they're breathing for, because then they're like looking at their time, but we can definitely do it for a few minutes.
Okay.
Because some people are like, oh, it's almost, when you're looking at the clock waiting for it to be done. But yeah, we can do it for a few minutes. Definitely. Are you ready? Are you good to do it as well?
Yes, I am. My ears have popped. I am good to go again.
Awesome. Okay. Perfect. So what we'll do is, I'm just going to bring my phone closer. So how was the music? Was it okay?
Maybe not turn it back up quite so.
A little quieter? It's so hard to tell on my end what it sounds like on your end. Yeah. Oh, technology, right? Okay.
Yes.
I know. All right. Okay. I'll turn it down a little. Okay. We'll just do a little test. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we're going to keep using that same mantra, our same intention. So I allow myself to feel. I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay. All right. So you're good to go. Eyes are closed. Again, please, if anyone's doing this, to be somewhere safe, seated or lying down. No distractions, hopefully, so you can really just connect in. No driving. Just somewhere that you can really just connect in and feel safe. Beautiful. So, Becky, just take a nice, beautiful breath in and out through the mouth. Beautiful. Another one in through the nose. Letting it all go. And when you're ready, you can begin that halo pattern. So intentional inhale through the nose. Out through the mouth. Intentional exhale. At your pace. What feels comfortable for you. We're just going to move that energy, breathing in, receiving, letting go. Beautiful. You are safe to feel. You are safe to breathe. Seeing if you can bring in that energy deep down into the belly on that inhale. Letting it all go on that exhale. It is safe to slow down. It is safe to just be and just breathe. Just know where you need to be. Beautiful. Cycling that air in through the nose. Remembering you are in full control. Only you know your body. You can go as fast or as slow as you need. Slowing down, going deeper with the breath. Beautiful. Breathing in that energy, letting it all go on that exhale. Feeling how supported you are with the breath. Starting to notice any sensations that might be coming up for you. Just noticing. I allow myself to feel. Again, if anything's feeling uncomfortable, slow down. Or even go to your natural breath if you need. Beautiful. You are so supported. You are held. Breathing in that beautiful healing energy of the body. It is safe to breathe. We've got so much uncertainty and stress around the quality of being with our breath. Our breath is our healer. Breathing in that safe, beautiful, healing energy around us. The breath can heal. Beautiful. And on that next inhale, breathing in, and then sighing it out. And just come back to your natural breath, keeping your eyes closed. Breathing in, letting the body now breathe you. Our breath is the one system where we have full control, or it is involuntary. and takes care of us as we live our lives. So letting that body now come back, trusting the process, knowing our body is always in our favor, guiding our breath. Allowing yourself to just feel whatever might have come up for you in that time. Emotions, sensations. And how did it feel when things might have come up for you, right? Feeling the safety of the body. That internal wisdom. Coming back to the space, back to your body. Noticing either the seat, the ground beneath you. You can wiggle fingers and just get a little more in the body. I allow myself to feel. It's safe to feel. Thanking yourself for showing up, trying some active breathing, giving yourself permission to be with where you are at. Whenever you're ready, you're welcome to open your eyes, taking your time, of course. Beautiful. I can only see you opening your eyes. All right. Well, thank you for doing that with me.
That was interesting, that time when after we settled and just went back to the regular breathing, I could feel tension between my shoulder blades. So it was just okay. Just release it, send it off.
Say, I am aware of you. I feel you.
Yep. I acknowledge you. Don't need you.
I notice. Yeah, I notice. Or even bringing in that, like even when you're bringing in that air, like I notice you. So when I breathe on my natural breath, it's like sending that energy through breath to the body in those spaces. Yeah, I'm so grateful that you wanted to breathe a little today with me. And it's beautiful. I mean, that was only about 5 minutes. And I mean, what things can come up and shift in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you have some upcoming online classes, you said.
Yeah, they're not posted. I mean, I'm just, like I said, I'm just waiting to finalize the dates with my friend who I work with at the Way, and we want to try and plan just some kind of, I think our goal is 30 to 45 minutes, something simple, nothing too time demanding. And our plan is to just kind of offer them through Zoom, donation-based, and just kind of support who we can in this time. I don't even know what else to say.
It could be afternoon, it could be evening, just depends.
Yeah, we're thinking evening, but I'm going to have them posted on my website. I'm going to, of course, share them on my Instagram once we have the dates, and then we're just going to be doing it over Zoom. Okay. And yeah, it's going to be similar to what we just did today, maybe a little longer, but gentle enough that people hopefully will feel comfortable to do it on their own, right? Without needing more time. Yeah. So that's the plan. That's the plan now. I'm excited. I can't wait because I haven't done them in a little while, but I mean, it's summer and it's nice out and people.
Maybe you could do it in a park somewhere.
Oh, for outside?
Yeah.
I should see if she wants to do
it. Or a group, right? Then we could,
for people who are
can
local.
Be far enough apart.
Yes.
And just make sure have something in the way of maybe a speaker with a microphone so you could talk and they could hear the music. And
I should suggest that to her.
and then that way you could maybe have a few people showing up and still have that 3 feet of distance or whatever people are comfortable with, right?
Yeah, that would be fun for people who are local. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I will let her know if she wants to do it. I mean, virtual is fine too, but because we can reach people who A, don't want to come in person, or B, aren't in the city, but definitely it'd be nice to, host something.
One, even just one.
Yeah. Do you want to come?
I'll come. It's just one.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to her because it'd be nice to do some meditation and breath in the park or wherever. Yeah, good idea.
And then you now have, as we can see, your website.
Yes, I finally hit publish. So yeah, so there's some information on breathwork. I break it down. I've got listed some of the benefits that I had mentioned. I've got some frequently asked questions and continually adding to it, so people can hopefully get some answers that they're looking for, or they can reach, my email is there as well, so they can reach out to me if they've got questions about breathwork, if they want to book a virtual one, if they have a few friends and they want to do like a Zoom with everybody safely, or if they're like local to Calgary and they want to try an in-person one, you can set that up as well for them, or they can follow the link to the way. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice. Yes.
All the things. Yeah.
I know. I enjoy our in-person ones.
I know. Oh, enjoy everything in person. I just miss people. But yeah. Well, we can do in person. Just sometimes they're distanced, so we can always do them now. So, yep. You just let me know.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Leslie.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And if you didn't get to see the whole podcast, you can go to, we do have Waves of Ki on the YouTube channel, and you can watch any podcast that catches your interest. You can go through the whole today's session with Leslie and be able to try some of the breathing techniques as she walks us through it. So it'd be, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.